Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainiac Baseball's 1984 Detroit Tigers season replay. Today we're going to take a look at the end of July standings, league leaders, and trade deadline deals, if there are any at all. Typically, if you've watched any of the previous 4 seasons of Brainiac Baseball's Detroit Tigers season replay, you know that there's not a lot or any at all trades at the deadline. This game sort of parses them out over the first 4 or 5 months of the season. And so usually at the deadline, there's not a lot to really discuss. But technically, this is a trade deadline video. So we wrapped up a ball game earlier today in which we won 6-3 over the Yankees. It was a valuable victory because it does keep us in second place. We're going to take a look at the standings first, and then I think we'll take a look at the transactions, the trade deadline deals, if any. We'll talk about what we've done to this point going into the playoff run, and then we'll look at the league leaders for the American League, and we'll quickly scan over the National League leaders. So that is the plan. So buckle in, grab yourself a Pabst Blue Ribbon, you working class people out there, and we will see if we can't figure out where we're going to wrap this year up, hopefully in first place. So let's start off with the standings. Okay, so we finished the game. If you watched the game earlier today, you know we didn't look at any of this stuff yet. So this is the first time I'm actually seeing this as well. Now, we won today, and coincidentally, Boston lost. And so we did jump back over New York, and we're 1.5 back of Boston with 2 months to go. Now, it's not the worst case scenario being in second place at the end of July, only a 1.5 back. But if you take a look at how everything kind of lines up here, Boston is the much better team, and that's what I'm afraid of, because let's take a look at Boston's roster. Okay, they only have one injury, and that is to Gino Petralli, who was their left-handed hitting catcher. They had a lefty-righty thing going with John Stearns, and when Gino Petralli got injured, they called back up Dennis Littlejohn, and he is their everyday starter over John Stearns somehow. I can't explain why. But this is the team to beat. I mean, they had a team batting average of .293, as you can see right there. And that's at the end of July. So they're still clubbing it. Wade Boggs, Lachelle Tarver, Clint Hurdle, and Marty Barrett all have batting averages over 300. Chico Walker just a skosh under. And, Roy Smalley has taken over the shortstop job from Dickie Thon. Although I don't know, is this a lefty-righty thing they have going there? I don't know. Oh, I guess we can find out. Yeah, it is a lefty-righty thing. So Dickie Thon's still getting regular at-bats as we take a look at their lefty right-up versus their righty lineup. So, yeah, I mean, Boston is still the team to beat. They're the best hitting team in the best hitting ballpark in the American League. They don't have a 20 home run hitter yet. They have tons of speed and, some of the best bats in the American League. So if we could take a quick look at their pitching staff, one of the reasons for their success is they have all of their starting pitchers healthy. For the first time this season, Oil Can Boyd is back being their ace, and all these left-handers fall in line after that. Now, Al Nipper is in AAA, and I think he would be better than any of these other left-handers that are in their rotation, and yet he is the odd man out. He's got a better rating than Hurst, Tudor, and Mike Chris, and yet he cannot break the lineup. So if they were somehow worked in Al Nipper, I almost said nipple, Al Nipple chips, then that might be the better way to go. But 4 left-handed pitchers will take it. Although we do not hit well versus lefties, so I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter now because we're done playing Boston for the season. Hot on our trail is the New York Yankees, who we're wrapping up a series with. And this team, I don't know how they do it. I mean, they have no power at the top of their lineup. They've put in a bunch of rookies, Nelson Simmons being one of them, who came over from Texas. He is batting really well for them. I mean, they have so many quality players. They're on their third baseman with Fritzy Connolly. They started off the year with, where's he at on here? Or did they cut him? Oh, maybe they cut him. It was Toby Hara. I don't see him. And then they went to Bob Horner, and Horner didn't work out. And then they went to Mickey Hatcher, who not only was very good, but he crushed us when we played them. And then they traded for a much more highly rated third baseman from the Cubbies, Fritzy Connolly. Yeah, he was on the Cubs. So I don't know. I mean, they've certainly upgraded based on the rating, and yet I'm not sure he's as productive. And certainly not that great defensively. So anyway, the point of it all is, as I look at this roster, I don't really feel like the Yankees are true contenders based on their at-bats, but if you look at their pitching staff, this is where they're pretty tough. They got Stephon Weaver back. If you're watching this video and you've never seen any of my other videos, then you probably don't recognize these two first number 1 and 2 starters in their rotation. Weaver and Slagle are both top-notch players who were on the team in 1979 and are somehow highly rated in this game. Then they got Steve Rogers, who we just pitched against today, and Tewksbury and Bryn Smith, former Tiger, as their number 5 starter. Plus they got Ron Guidry and Scott Sanderson as their 6th and 7th starter. So, I mean, they are deep when it comes to starting pitchers, and their bullpen is just about as good as ours, with Kurt Kaufman as their closer. And if you're not familiar, he's been their closer almost since the beginning. So, anyway. All right, so those are the big three. Baltimore is done. They're 10 games back. They're not eliminated. No team is eliminated yet, obviously, with 2 months to go. But if you're 10 games or more back, you are definitely toast at this point. Okay, let's take a look here then at the American League West. You'll see that, if you've been following along, you'll know that all 4 of these teams at some point have led the American League West this year. Chicago took a serious run at first place, and they even had a couple-game lead, and then they've dropped back to 4.5, which is probably realistic. They have a really good pitching staff who is now struggling with injuries. Okay, Britt Burns, their ace, will be back in 11 days, right? And so, I mean, like, they're very reliable, and then they just got a bunch of weirdos playing positions. They made the trade for Johnny Ray, and that has worked out well, I guess, technically. If you're going to have a guy batting .433, you might want to lead him off over Ty Gainey batting .217. I mean, these are the things the game gets wrong all the time. It's very frustrating. And then Chris Bourgeois, I believe they got him at the beginning of the year. So he's kind of doing what he does, which is pretty average. And you get the idea. This is a good team, actually, which is why they're competing. And then we have the Oakland A's. They have suffered injuries to their pitching staff. And I believe they are getting some of their guys back, right? Yeah, Mike Norris, who was pitching pretty bad anyway, will be back by the end of August. And hopefully they'll still be in it. They got El Presidente. They got, a bunch of names that you might recognize if you're an Oakland A's fan. But they switched closers, which is weird, considering Joe Baver was getting the job done, but then Jim Corsi's come in and absolutely been as close to lights out as you could expect. That's a good team. I mean, their lineup, I love these guys here. They got Shooty Babbitt, Tony Phillips, got Kevin Mitchell leading the American League in home runs, I believe. Mickey Tettleton, Robin Yount, first year on Oakland in our game. They got Cal Ripken and Carlton Fisk. So they've got a lot of big names on this team, and they're 2 games back. They're not going to be counted out. Seattle, I would think, should always be the favorite. They just made a trade for Butch Weiniger, getting him back for the first time since 1982, and he's batting .324. So that's a good trade. Solid catcher, average defensively, but he's got a good bat. Alan Cockrell, I forgot about him. He was traded over here, and he's jumped up a few points. So, Cockrell out in right field. Interesting. So they've made a couple of really good decisions. Their third baseman is Dave Elder. Oh, it was Tom Dodd, who was doing pretty well. I guess Elder's kind of pacing him there. So, this is an interesting team. Didn't Dave Stapleton have 30 home runs last year? He had 27 home runs and 100 RBI, and they put him in the minor leagues. Okay. And, of course, their pitching staff is really great. They have 2-time Cy Young Award winner Mark Langston. Is it back-to-back? Is he going for a three-peat? Cy Young in 82. Oh, no, he only won it one time, but a multiple-time All-Star. So he's 12-6, 182 strikeouts already, more than 9 per inning, which is very rare in baseball mogul. They have some terrible, terrible pitchers in their rotation. Bud Black is done for the regular season. They might get him back in time for the postseason if they can get there without him. They have 3 10-game winners already. And then the California Angels are atop the West. And they are thorough. I mean, top to bottom, this is a solid team. When your number 9 guys batting .325, you got to feel good about that. Their bench guys have all been starters at some point of their career, except for maybe Darryl Miller, I suppose. They got Carney Lansford on the bench. The guy can't even get in at bat in the majors. They have Keith Hernandez in AAA, who was batting .320 when he got traded over here. Who's their DH? Paul Molitor's. Oh, that's cool that they made Molitor the DH, as he should. They traded for Tim Flannery. They traded for Terry Pull. So this team probably is the best team. And then they have the rotation, which I guess they're suffering injuries. Let's see. Yeah, Mike Witt will be back in 19 days. Yeah, he was 13-4. That guy was cruising along before his injury. So former Tiger Kip Young is the number 5 starter right now. I guess that's the best they have to offer. But, they got Frank Tanana there and Ed Halicki. He was already well out of baseball by 1981. He's still humming along. Dave Frost, often injured Ron Romanick as their ace. Kirk McCaskill is long relief. Interesting. Okay. So anyway, there's your contenders in the American League East. It's still a tough call in the West. I mean, I think it's going to come down to Detroit and Boston in the East. I don't think New York's got the staying power, but I mean, they're not stealing, they're not hitting home runs. Their team ERA is just a skosh above ours. So their pitching is good, and their batting average is right in line with us. So I don't know. I mean, they're one injury away from being done. And maybe so are we. Okay, so let's take a look at the National League. Now, it's easy to take a look at the West first and just eliminate this division as being completed. Los Angeles is a 17.5 game lead. Everybody is playing for second place. And they have a team ERA of 2.37. They have, tons of stolen bases. They don't hit home runs. And their team batting average is roughly 20 points above the league average. So LA, you could chalk them in right now. And then Philadelphia, this is an interesting division because Philadelphia was the class of the division, and then they suffered some injuries, and the Mets got back into it, and in fact jumped over Philadelphia briefly. But now that I'm looking at this a little closer, you'll see that the Cubs are only 3 games back, 5 games over 500. Pittsburgh's a 500 team, 5.5 back, and Montreal, 8 games under 500, are 9.5 back. I'm sure they're eliminated, but I would not have thought St. Louis would be a last place team in this division, but they are 16 games back. And the Astros, who won the World Series just a couple years ago in this sim, have completely bottomed out. They got nothing to offer. Now, on the other hand, we did poach a bunch of their players just for the fun of it. Yeah, they've got Bruce Robbins, who's 7-7. We traded him. Larry Pashnick, we traded over there. Yeah. They have Nolan Ryan in AAA. He's rated a 64. He still had so many good years ahead of him in real life because of what he pitched until 1990, I think. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's true. But in this game, he's toast. All right, so there you go. There are the American League and National League standings through the month of July. We are now on the home stretch in the dog days of summer as we head into August. We'll take a look here at the transactions, which we did not look at after today's ball game. Are there any trades? No, there is not. That's lame. I mean, the last trade there was when we traded away some of our schlubs for money. Okay, we prostituted those guys basically to Indiana, to the Indians. I'm sorry, to get some cash money homes. All right, so let's see here. We got Tracy Woodson signing a 3-year deal with Atlanta. He's just been good the whole time. He is a 2-time All-Star. He won a home run title. He was an RBI leader at one point in the National League, in this game anyway, and kind of a staple of this team. He's only 21 years old. Oh, my gosh, this game is so dumb. Then John Harris of the Angels, their starting first baseman, broke his hand. Oh, yeah, that's right. We saw this yesterday because he has not played in the majors this year, despite being integral to their team last year, hitting 30 home runs at 106 RBIs, batting .305, and then they couldn't find a spot for him. That's because of Paul Molitor, I guess. All right, and then Eric Soderholm has retired. At age 35, I do remember him on the Yankees in our sim. And that 1980 was the last year that he played in our sim here. So, okay. All right. I guess all that's left to do is to take a look at the league leaders. Let's do that now. League leaders. We'll look at the American League first. All right. Break that out. Okay, here are the American League batting average leaders. We'll do this the way we always do it. We'll look at all the hitters categories first that are important anyway. And then we'll take a look at the pitchers categories and the fielding categories. Fielding will mix into the hitters, I guess. It just makes it easier. All right, and then we'll take a brief look at the National League. Okay, so batting average, you may expect it to be Lachelle Tarver, but you would be wrong. It's actually Wade Boggs surpassing Lachelle Tarver. Yeah, he's crushing it. Good job by Wade Boggs. He's a 95 overall rating. His contact is a 99. His gap power is a 98. His eye is a 96. This is the best hitter in the game. His power is just league average, but he's got 11 home runs. Oops. There we go. Yeah, and then Lachelle Tarver, his teammate. And then the recently traded for Willie Wilson on our team. He's played 25 games for us. He's batting .367, and he's got 14 stolen bases. So, I mean, we traded for Willie Wilson, who is killing it. We traded for Tom Browning, who is 4-0, and we traded for Tom Hankey, our closer, who is flawless in save situations, and we've dropped from first place. So I don't really know what else I could have done, but the game's going to do whatever it wants. We're going to round out the top 10 with Harold Reynolds of Seattle, Alvin Davis of Seattle, Marty Barrett of the Red Sox, Brian Harper of the Angels, good hitting catcher, underrated catcher, Clint Hurdle of the Red Sox, Rod Allen and Ron Kittle batting .300 to round out the top 10 for the White Sox there. And then Juan Bonilla is always there for the Indians. Paul Molitor now in the Angels. Led Nozzle, Tom Pagnozzi, and then George Brett's in there as well, batting .292. Okay, cool. I guess we'll see at bats. Well, it's Paul Molitor. All right. Doubles. The doubles leader so far is Tommy Herr with 32. Wade Boggs has 30. Willie Wilson's got 25. George Brett. I mean, it's really weird to see three Tigers. We can't really count Willie Wilson because he had a majority of those doubles with Kansas City, but we have three Tigers in the doubles leaders category, and that is something that we do not do very often. And I can't remember what our, here it is, I got it right here. Yeah. So doubles in Tiger Stadium are in 83. So 17% less likely to get a double in Tiger Stadium. And yet we have three doubles leaders on the board there. That's kind of surprising, right? Okay. Grounding in the double plays. Jim Bob Rice has 22. George Brett's got 12. Leading our team, and you would feel like it's a ton more than that, but it's not. You would be wrong. Extra base hits. Wow, Brian Harper's got 46. 28 doubles, a triple, and 17 home runs. That is very impressive for a catcher. He was a great catcher. Don't forget, Brian Harper. Wait, I'm saying don't forget, and now I'm sort of not sure I remember. But Brian Harper was a Tiger farmhand at one point. Am I wrong? I think he was in the Tigers farm system. You know what, damn it? I have the skills to look it up. I'm going to pull it up right now. I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. Angels. Okay, maybe I'm just wrong. No, he did play for us in '86. Oh, that's right, because Harper didn't get good until they got to the Baggy Dome for the Twins. But that's what it was. He did play for us briefly when Parrish was injured. Okay. Actually, let me scroll down. I just want to make sure. I knew there was a Tiger-related thing there. Yeah, he was just signed as a free agent. All right. Fine. Now you know. Okay, so, yeah. Extra base hits. Brian Harper's got 46 total. Impressive. Fielding average. You know, we're going to do fielding right now. We'll just get it over with. Who's the best catcher? Ron Hassey. And Terry Kennedy, this is based on just fielding percentage, of course, is fourth. Ray Smith of Baltimore is at the bottom. All right, first base, Greg Brock right in the middle of the pack. I mean, there are some great defensive first basemen in the American League. Even Big Daddy's got 993. Congrats to Fred McGriff on going to the Hall of Fame. Okay, second base, Lou Whitaker. I'm surprised he even qualifies. He's missed so much of the season. He's only played 55 games. So I don't know how he actually qualifies, but if he's qualified now, he will qualify later as long as he doesn't get injured again. But it's Marty Party. He's got the best at 986. That's pretty solid. Third base, George Brett. I mean, you got to hand it to him. He has bounced back pretty impressively. He was down at like 880, 890 early on. The game like front-loaded all of his errors. And then he's only made I think he's only made 3 since like the second month of the season. But his defensive range and his defensive WAR is not good. All right. Gary Cooper of the Twins has a sizable lead. Shortstop is Alan Trammell. He is number 1. He had an error today, actually. That dropped his fielding percentage to 988. But he is the best, and that would be cool if we got a Gold Glove. Left field, it's Gibby. What? Gibby was just not a very good defensive left fielder. A lot of it was due to injuries as he got older. Knee injuries, back injuries, lost his hair. That hurts. That hurts me personally. But yeah, I mean, that's, that's amazing. And it's wrong. I mean, it's just wrong, but that's fine. We'll take it. Fielding average in center field, Willie Wilson, 982. But look at this 18-year-old, Daniel Fernandez for Texas, has a perfect fielding percentage and 3 outfield assists. Neat. All right. And a bunch of schlubs. I mean, people here you just don't recognize their names. At the top, anyway. Okay, and then right fielder, Glenn Wilson is 5th. He could win. I mean, he's hitting terrible. Like, right now, that's his problem. In the outfield, he's great, and he's only got 2 assists, but no one runs on him. It's unfair that his range and his WAR, defensive WAR, is negative. That's just not right. And his hitting is terrible. I wonder what his WAR is overall. We'll check that on the way out here. Okay, moving on. Games played. Paul Molitor, he changed teams, so he might have an advantage there at 108. Kenny Smith has only missed 7 games. We started taking him out versus left-handers because he's a left-handed bat, and he's batting under 200. So we work in Kevin Bass sometimes. Hits. Who's leading in hits? Rod Allen. Come on, it's so dumb. Rod Allen has 140. Willie Wilson with 131. George Brett's got 110. That leads the team. Cecil Fielder's got 117. It's just crazy. Okay. Hit by pitch. Rusty McNeely, center fielder for the A's, has 5. Home runs. Okay, Kevin Mitchell, who has been quiet. Like, all the leaders have been quiet in July. It's like they had to slow the pace down. He has 3 home runs in his last 20 games. So, I mean, come on. That's redonkulous. And then we have Jim Traber. He's got 9 home runs. So he's gunning for Kevin Mitchell. Daryl Sconyers has 24. Sap Randall's got 22. What? First baseman, he's got, I don't know. There's a lot of schlubs making the big time here. And then we got Dave Henderson. Ricardo Saenz has always been there. I'm sure you've seen the signs. Ken Smith, of course, just hit his 20th home run today. That's only his 2nd in the last 20 games. He's been, well, I guess he's been good. I mean, he's not driving in runs. He's still getting on base. Batting average is 296. I don't know. I feel like he's not doing anything right now, but That might be a product of our lineup in general. And then Greg Brock has 15. He's on the list there. Okay. Neat. Intentional walks? Wade Boggs has 5. On base percentage, Alvin Davis, 407. Wade Boggs, 406. And Kenny Smith at 396. So, I mean, look at the ages. Go down that list, and you can see that as we are, heading toward the end of our 5th season, the game has basically plucked anybody over 30 out of the game. They've diminished their overall ratings despite still being very, very valuable to their teams in real life. And they've just gone on and made this a young person's game. And that's why I continue to say, and this is just in my experience, but 6 years is how long it takes for the game to expunge all of the bad rated players, and then you really have your true team. Pardon me while I grab a little drink there. Okay. Outfield assists. Rusty McNeely has 10. What is his arm? A 76. So that's because people just run on him, and he somehow manages to occasionally throw somebody out because it gets what the game does. Gibby's got 4. I'm happy for Gibson. He's having a very good defensive year. All right. What about OPS? We got Ken Smith at 870. Kevin Mitchell's leading, and a couple Boston guys in there. A lot of Seattle guys. So, and then our Kenny. All right. I don't care about range factor. RBI. Kevin Mitchell almost has 100 RBI here on August 1st. Ken Smith, we saw he's got 9 in the month of July, or the last 20 games. So he's really died off. We really don't have anybody right now that I feel like can drive in a run. Especially since Glenn Wilson just has completely been useless. Okay, let's look at runners thrown out by the catcher. Ray's got 32. What's his arm? 76? Oh, it's an 83. My bad. He's good. He's good. Terry Kennedy has 26. We traded Parrish. He's down there. Has he even played yet for Cleveland? He's played in 1 game since we traded him. Oh, I gotta change his card. Okay. All right. What's the runner thrown out percentage? Yeah, Ron Hasse is the best at 34.4, and Terry Kennedy is on a streak right now where he's throwing runners out regularly, 33.8%. Ray Stevens of Milwaukee, 16%. He's got an 80 arm. His fielding is a 66, so I wonder if that plays a part. I mean, there's no way to know. All right. Yeah, plate appearance. Oh, yeah. Okay, runs. Dickie Schofield has 88 runs scored. Ken Smith's got 73. That's why he walks so much. Willie Wilson, 64, and Gibby was 63. Gibby was our leadoff hitter for a long time before we traded for Willie Wilson. Sack hits. Dougie Baker's got 5. Trammell's got a couple. Sack flies. Don Slaught of the Royales with Cheese has 11. Kenny Smith has got 7. How about Money Holmes? Okay, I keep saying incorrectly that Steve Rogers has the highest payroll, the highest salary, when it's actually not. It's John Fulgham of the Mets, followed by tied with Teddy Higuera, and then Bob Welch. Interesting. No Tigers. If you get too, if you like Morris is going to want over $1 million. We can't pay that. Not now. So Morris will be gone. And we did not trade him. That might be, we couldn't trade him. We couldn't. Okay, we're still looking at batters. Slugging, Kevin Mitchell. Here we go, steals. Willie Wilson has 48 combined. He has 14 as a Tiger. And he has an 11 stolen base lead over Rusty McNeely. Yeah, and then Gibby's got 24. Gibby might have been, if we had kept him as a leadoff hitter, he might have been up there, but he had that stretch where he was getting caught like crazy. I guess that's been passed now, as he's got 4 stolen bases and 3 caught stealing. And I think do you have one today? No. All right. Let's see here. Strikeouts. Rolando Rooms of the Angels has struck out 104 times. Ken Smith has struck out 81 times. This is the schlub list. This is all schlubs, except for Fred McGriff, who just went into the Hall of Fame. But he's a rookie in this game as of right now. He's only 20 years old. All right. Strikeout percent. Ray Smith, he's going to put the ball in play a lot. Willie Wilson, George Brett. We hit and run a lot with George Brett. Total bases, Rod Allen. Come on, that's dumb. That's just stupid. Triples, Mike Fishlips has 7. Ruben on Rye has 6. Randy Azador has 6. So, I mean, Tiger Stadium is good for triples, but we just don't have any leaders. Walks. Hey, there we go. Ken Smith. 2 more than Carl Pagel of Cleveland. So, that's something. All right. Now let's look at pitchers real quick. We'll go a little bit quicker here and just get through these. Complete games. Teddy Higuera, despite missing a bunch, right? Yeah, he's only pitched 18 games, and he's got the most complete games. Jack Morris has 3. ERA, of course. Teddy Higuera, just a skosh below 2, and then everybody else is above 3. We got J-Mo. We got Brian Kelly in there? What? Even Dan Petrie, who's completely fallen off the table, is on the list. That's kind of weird, right? That we'd have 3? Considering, well, we do have the best ERA in the American League. So it has to come from somewhere. Games pitched. Raleigh Eastwick, out of baseball by 1982. And yet, the Royals are blowing up that arm. And then you see all of our Tigers in there. Working it. Roger Weaver down there. Is he closing for that team? No. Wow, it's hard to believe that we gave him so long to become a closer, and he was so decent for us. He went from a 1.30 ERA to a 4.45. We traded him to Toronto, and Toronto traded him to Chicago. Okay. Wait, did we do hits? Oh, yeah, it was Rod Allen, and I scoffed at it. All right, hit batters. Howard Bailey, former Tiger of Kansas City, hit 7 batters. All right, not a big deal. Home runs allowed. We already know it's that Cleveland Indian guy. Larry McCall has given up 38 home runs. No Tigers on this list, although we've suffered some injuries. Larry McCall 215 career home runs. Given up. All right. Innings pitched. No Tigers on this list. We lost Morris for a big portion of the year. We lost Bert Blyleven for the whole year. And Petrie just took a dump on the mound. I mean, it was graphic. All right, let's see. We've got none of this is interesting, in my opinion. Quality starts. Wow, Dan Petrie has 11. That's amazing. Floyd Bannister of Seattle has, also with Teddy Higuera, and Matt Williams of Toronto. Wow, that's kind of a shocker. You know, we don't talk about Toronto a lot, but he's doing a good job. I mean, he's doing a great job, actually, on that terrible team. Good job by Matt Williams, the pitcher, not the hitter. Of course, the hitter is on our Tiger team. Quality start percentage. Bert. We hardly knew ye. All right, moving along here. Saves. Tom Hankey combined, Texas and Detroit, has 25. Dave Smith, still in the top 10, despite being a major choke artist. I bet you most of these pitchers aren't even the closers for their team. Well, I guess Bruce Sutter's not right now, right? They gave it to some other schlub. Just dumb. All right. I'm doing a lot of Anchorman jokes here, which is always a timely reference. Let's take a look at shutouts. Oh, Bert had 2 before he bit the dust. Teddy Higuera, Alan Ramirez, and Mike Witt, who's on the IL. Starts. Keith Creel. Way to go, Keith Creel. Feeling himself. Then we've got strikeouts pitched. Mark Langston, 182, and it's not even close. Morris missed a month, and he's on the list. I don't really think that's very indicative of the times, was it? I guess this, because we're talking about 1984. So there's still a lot of contact hitters out there, right? So maybe that makes some sense. Strikeouts per 9. Yeah, look at that. 9.38. And Jack Morris is at 8. That's crazy, but Jack Morris did lead the American League in strikeouts in 1983. So if we were building off that season, that would make sense. Okay, walks per 9 innings. Yeah, Tewksbury, less than a half a walk per 9. He's walked 7 this year, and he's walked 7 in his total career. But the game just completely screws him on the opponent's batting average, because that's how it has to. Like, the game cannot calculate a 99 control, so it has to offset it by having him get crushed with hits. Again, this game sucks in so many ways. And then wins. Will we have a 20-game winner in the American League? Teddy Higuera has 13. Mike Warren of Oakland has 13. And Mike Witt has 13. Holy crap, Keith Creel's got 12? Oh, my apologies to Keith Creel. Mark Langston, that son of a bitch, Frank Tanana. Mike Boddicker. Steve Davis, the ace of Toronto. And Matt Williams. Brian Kelly has 10, leading our team. That is just embarrassing. Okay, so that's it for the American League. Let's just take a quick look at the National League. I mean, this is going to be very quick, and we'll wrap this baby up. So here's your league leaders. Batting average, it's Gene Richards of the Padres over Tony Gwynn, teammate, at 328. Billy Hatcher, Pedro Guerrero, Pat Tam. These are all really good hitters. from this era. Not Herm Winningham, not Vance Law. I think Vance Law did bat over 300 once or twice. Brad Wellman is good in this game. I don't know how. Then you got the weirdos. They got Eric Davis there, Mad Dog, Dutch. I'm just going to say nicknames that I know. No, Big Neck. I don't know. That's right. But he had a big neck. Look at that neck. They couldn't even get his whole neck into the picture. All right. We don't need to make fun of people, even though it's a specialty of mine. Eric Davis is leading in home runs. Is he a rookie? No. Sorry, my bad. All right. Rob Deere. Kirby Puckett. There we go. Okay, we're saying names. RBI leader is Billy Hatcher with 69. Nice. And stolen bases are tied. Eric Davis leading in home runs and stolen bases. And Ricky B. Ricky has 55. That's kind of amazing. All right, and then pitchers. Let's just, let's do it really quick. What are we doing here? We're doing ERA. We're doing wins. We're doing strikeouts. Oops, pitched. And we're doing saves. All right. ERA leaders. Tom Browning still qualifying at this point. But it's Tim Belcher who demands your attention. A 170 ERA. Rick Ownby of the Mets at 191. And then you got a handful under 3. Some really big names in there. Pretty cool. Larry McWilliams. I believe he actually won an ERA title in his career. In real life. Am I wrong? I don't know. No, I'm pretty sure that's right. Okay, yeah. So there's your ERA leaders. Wins. Tom Belcher burping his way to the lead with 15. Bruce Perenni, who I wish we could have traded for, but he had no trade clause. So we got Tom Browning, who's been great. Bob Welch. Never make a deal with that guy. I don't know why I have no idea why I'm commenting like this. I hope it's entertaining. We got Fernando Valenzuela looking to the sky. 152 strikeouts. There's the Rocket. He just got an extended contract, right? Yeah. So he wasn't even in the majors yet in real life. He's already got 36 career wins and 108 starts. Yeah, all right. And then save leaders, Lee Smith of the Cubs. That makes sense. Dave Shippenoff. These are, Bob James was a closer, so was Bedrock. Greg Harris probably did. Alejandro Pena definitely did. Gibson Alba. He Napoleoned his way to the lead. Alba, get it? You didn't think I was smart, but I'm smart. I know things. John Franco and Brad Leslie, the animal. Oh, they must be sharing the duty. All right, that's it. I'm done. I'm toast. All right, so now we flip the month to August. We have one more game against the Yankees, and then we'll never play them again this season. We have, this is where we have to win these games. We're playing the Indians, the last place Indians, the next to last place Brew Crew, Orioles, which are toast, and then it's all National League West the rest of the way, I believe, right? Yep. So, and then September, it's, most of their better teams. So that'll be interesting to wrap it up against the West. I don't know why the game does that, but we only have one day off in August and 2 days off in September before the end of the season, which is we wrap up against the White Sox. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up today for the end of July summary. We're going to come back. No, so Friday and Saturday, I'm going to be in Phoenix. I'm not going to be around, so there won't be any games played. I'm not even bringing my laptop. So a little weekend vacation for me. I'll be back on Sunday, and we'll get back to wrapping up the series versus the Yankees. We have expanded rosters coming at the end of the month. We have that to look forward to. And just keeping our players healthy and giving us a chance to win the division. We just got to beat the teams that we are supposed to beat. And that ought to be good enough to win. So that'll do it for today. Thank you guys for watching. And we'll be back in 2 days with the final game against the Yankees. Until then, everyone, have a great day.